Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Anurag and welcome to my channel. So today in this video, I'll be talking about how getting infected with COVID-19 actually changed me as a doctor. So the basic theme of this video is about empathy, but if you want to listen to me and listen to my experience about what happened, then please stay along. I have so many things to tell you. Alright, so I have changed a lot actually as a doctor, and yes, I'll be sharing that with you today. But before that, let me show you a photo of this pile of rice grains. All right, so what happens is Nepal is actually still an agrarian country, and a lot of inhabitants of Nepal, the citizens, they rely on agriculture for their daily livelihood. And you can see after the rice has been harvested, it is put into lumps, and here what they do is men and women, they gather up and they winnow the grains, and what they do is they separate the husk from the grains, and this is what goes on. So if you were to visit Nepal, and if you're not allergic, mind your allergies, you can visit these places and just see how an agrarian society functions, and how people actually do this with their hands and not using any kind of machines. All right, so with that said, today I'll be talking to you about how COVID-19 changed me as a doctor, and with that said, let's get right into it. So COVID-19 has been sweeping across countries since its origins in 2019, right? Since then till today's date, well, the death toll has reached to 3.7 million deaths, right? That's a huge number, right? It has had a devastating impact on people, economies, countries, and everything else. Okay, I too got infected with COVID-19 back in October of 2020. Okay, I'm thankful that I recovered and just had mild to moderate symptoms, but during those 14 to 15 days of the active illness, man, that was a very, very stressful time for me. Okay, before I tell you how COVID changed me as a doctor, first a little bit into what a doctor's mindset is, right? So as doctors, what happens is that we know about diagnosis, we know about how the disease occurs, what treatment is there, more or less we have a good understanding of a lot of diseases. All right, so what happens is that after you look at a lot of patients, you take care of a lot of patients, what happens is that sometimes you become a robot of some kind. Okay, I mean, this does not happen to everyone, but what I feel is that it's really difficult to stay in touch with that empathetic side of yours because it becomes too repetitive. What happens is that you're taking care of a lot of patients, and let's say a patient comes in and the patient is like, okay, I have these many symptoms, doctor, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, I mean, this is your diagnosis, this is the treatment, and just take it. Okay, so coming back to my situation, okay, so after getting infected with COVID, what happened was the symptom that I had was shortness of breath, right? So it was getting difficult for me to breathe. I mean, I was shocked. The thing that I never even realized, let's say you are breathing right now, right? So did you take a notice of your breathing? No. Right? I mean, you do it spontaneously. You never know it's there. But when I had shortness of breath, I had difficulty breathing. Man, I needed to work to breathe. So that happened. Okay, so then I reflected upon my clinical practice, and then I told myself that so what about my patients who come in with pneumonia, shortness of breath, bronchial asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease? So those patients, they have difficulty breathing, right? So that was when it hit me. That was when I realized, man, I mean, this is what they go through, right? So now I guess I was finally able to put myself inside the patient's shoes, and since then, whenever I've seen patients after my recovery from COVID, I've made sure that I give them prompt treatment. I mean, I didn't used to delay their treatment anyways, but now I actually feel for them and how difficult it must have been for them to go through that, right? So it has made me more empathetic. The other thing that what happened to me was that I actually panicked a lot. Okay, so what happened was, it was around fourth, fifth day of my symptoms, and what happened was, I suddenly realized that, man, if something was to go wrong, there's no treatment, right? I mean, still there is no treatment for COVID, which has been proven and which, just gets results just like that. But, and it hit me, so I was so scared that if something bad were to really happen, if I were to deteriorate, then there was not a definitive treatment, so it was kind of a thought that there was no cure. Okay, and that, I panicked a lot. But after a few days, when I reflected upon that thought, I came to realize that, I have a lot of patients. I mean, I've seen a lot of patients who have got diseases that have got no cure, right? So whenever you give a patient his or her diagnosis, what happens is that you just tell them, right? So, okay, I mean, you have got this disease, and I'm sorry to say that you have no cure, but, the mindset, what might be going through that person's head when they get that diagnosis, I mean, how frustrated they might be to realize that they have something that there is no cure of, right? So this gave me a really, really different perspective about what, getting a diagnosis like that, what impact it leaves on you. Okay, so that has made me really, really more empathetic, and it has given me a better sense of understanding about what a patient might be going through, and that I need to be there to take care of my patients on an empathetic level as well, instead of just prescribing drugs, right? That was it. So those were my reflections from after I got COVID. If there were any other realizations that you think you had if you were infected with COVID, which I hope not, but still, if you have any kind of experiences, make sure you share them with me in the comments down below. And yeah, if you stayed here until this end of this video, then thanks a lot for staying. Please subscribe to the channel, because I make videos related to health, positivity, and motivation. A little bit of USMLE and everything is there, but you can feel right at home here in this channel. All right, so with that said, this is Dr. Anurag, the Life Doc, leaving you with a promise to meet you yet again in yet another video. And until then, you, my friend, stay happy, stay positive, and as always, stay strong.